come from the world of work where you're quite successful, and then you're doing this and you're feeling out of your depth, you're feeling isolated, and you feel like you're not meeting these standards that are put there by society, then you're going, oh, I'm not doing the right thing. You're not thinking, what's right for me? Or I know I'm generalizing, but you know, the instinct is not to think, what's right for me? How am I going to get through this? Whatever. It's like, right, what am I not doing right? How am I going to fix this? There's a lot of I think, in general in mental health, right, if you run so many times a week, if you go paleo, if you just eat more walnuts and chestnuts, it's feeding into this, I think Siobhan mentioned earlier, the medication isn't the best thing, you know, there's big pharma, you should worry about this, or a lot of mothers I met who did have issues said it was okay, I didn't have to do the tablets, you know. That's another pressure. Maybe you are feeling bad and you feel like you can't cope and you really, all the things that you're doing aren't working, but you don't feel like you should be turning to tablets. You feel like, if I just juiced more, you know? There are incredible pressures, and that's just one aspect of life.
And see, also the issue of what happens when a woman can't become a mother and she really desperately wants to.
Yes.
And I've been through that myself, and it's really horrendous because here you have the societal expectations, and then infertility hits, and you get very, very little support in terms of treatment for that. But yet you still, you know, there's still so much pressure to be a mother, and you don't know where that's coming from, whether it's inside you or whether it's societal expectations, and what do you do about it, and what support do you get for that, and then how other people feel that this becomes public, that they can comment on your infertile status. So that's an awful source of suffering for women. And you've got the double whammy then. So if you've got a mental health problem and you disclose that and you ever want to adopt a child, then you know that that's going to be probed. And I can tell you, because I've been through the adoption process myself, that they do ask about mental health. And if you've been on medication, the likelihood is that you won't be approved to adopt, certainly a little baby. So we have all of these conflicting kind of societal pressures to be a mother, to be a perfect mother, and then there's very little support for you whenever that goes wrong, in whatever way, whatever form that takes. And disclose your mental health status can interfere with all of those things. So it's
or
really,
if you don't want to be a mother.
Yeah.
Oh, God forbid.
Yeah. Well, but that is a mental illness, did you not know? Clearly there's something wrong with you. You do not fulfill your destiny to procreate. But no, very good point. Yeah.
Well, probably kind of linked to the point you were just making there, Siobhan. The next question relates to an interesting piece published recently about how women's suffering is perhaps a little bit glorified in the Irish psyche. And so the question is, would you agree with that? And how do you feel this plays out in women's struggles with their emotional well-being?
Absolutely. She never complained. You know, she never complained. She's great. She just gets on with it. You know, I don't know about the rest of you, but I certainly grew up hearing that all the time. And I think now if you see somebody who's ill or suffering from any physical or mental illness, no, sorry, you don't get the same sympathy for mental illness, I really don't think so. But a physical illness, certainly, and isn't it great, she's just fighting it and she's never complaining, you know, or she just gets on with it. Maybe they're not ill, maybe they're in difficult circumstances, she's just getting on with it, isn't she great? You never hear her, you know, X, Y, and Z. I most definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and if they are granted some sympathy, it's just that and that's like the fire, like that's an umbrella term for all mental health illnesses for Irish.
But it's again related to this idea that I think it relates back to labour, where you're supposed to natural process. So even take a pain relief, you failed. So that's the start of it. Then if you can't breastfeed, you failed. You know, so all the time, if you're weak in those sort of areas, or perceived to be weak in those areas, you are a failure. So you've got to kind of soldier through, because that's what women do. Yeah, we're designed for that. We're supposed to be giving to other people all the time, rather than looking after ourselves.
Yeah. And I think, you know, in terms of it's misogynistic then to like. Men expect us to be beautiful, we're objectified, men expect us to be the good mother, to be the sexy wife, you know, the names on the street or whatever in the sheets. But then when we're unwell, there's no time for that because,
Extraordinary Woman is about to begin in the gallery. Extraordinary Woman is about to begin in the gallery.
who has so many other expectations to be able to attention for her mental health. And I almost did find myself apologising in some instances in a previous relationship for, oh, don't worry, it's just my hormones, everything's okay, I've got it under control, just bear with me, or passing it off as insignificant when in fact it was quite crippling. But I think the more I got older, the more unapologetic I became, and the more the FU word became more frequent in my vocabulary, because I had no mental energy for anything else other than looking after myself. And that's why I'm such an advocate then for authenticity, because then it's take it or leave it, but I'm going to be me despite what you think. And I think that then gains a bit more respect as opposed to standing back. Because I almost feel like women are oppressing other women in this day and age, so it's internalized sexism. So because we're so used to society and men oppressing women, that we don't realise then that we echo that same misogyny. So then we go and we'll watch women and police them and make sure they don't do anything that annoys us. But what we're doing is we're creating a bigger gap between ourselves and other women, and falling into the gaps in misogyny. So we're doing the men's work when the men aren't working. So, and I think then it's more important then to not criticise the woman, to not compare yourself to her, to not criticise her, let her be her and stand with her as opposed to standing against her, because we forget that, we're still oppressed, but we always play second fiddle to men, and I don't care what anybody says. We still are in every aspect, because I do find myself dressing down in certain situations because if I'm going for an interview and I know there's a woman in a panel and a man in a panel, I don't want that woman to think that I'm dressing provocatively to get the job on the man's opinion. So, and why should I even worry to think about that? Apparently, I read an article where apparently they say not to wear your wedding ring or your engagement ring, because you're more likely to get a job in an interview if you don't. So those stresses, like you said, in themselves, we're thinking so much about the insignificant thing rather than the job that we're trying to pursue or the life that we're trying to live. So I just feel that I just kind of, all in all, there is a huge pressure to be a woman in the traditional sense, when in fact we should be our own version of a woman rather than making everybody else mold under this kind of shape of what a real or ideal woman is, when we realise that we don't do.
Well, I think more kind of gender equality benefits men, obviously, but particularly in relation to mental health. Because if women are able to say that they've got mental health problems and have that validated, then men will, in a more equal society, of course, men would not feel that they always have to be anti-woman or so far the opposite of a woman, so that they could reveal this. Because men often won't reveal mental health problems because they see it as a weak thing, and that they perceive it as related to something that women do. They talk about their mental health all the time. So I think gender equality and women's disclosure and honesty and authenticity around mental illness would enormously benefit from men who have a lot of the same problems as we have and really suffer in silence, and to the point where they're more likely to take their lives. But the suicide thing's really interesting, because suicide is considered a men's health issue, and it's actually not, because there's more women in suicidal crisis than men. Women are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide. They're less likely to die by suicide because they use different methods, or they're more likely to have a support network in which that ideation can be disclosed, and they can seek help that way. So there's a lot more suicidal suffering among women than there is for men, but yet it's men's suicide because they die, and that's an important issue too, but that's highlighted. So I think we all need to look at the underlying stuff and the fact that women actually are much more likely to suffer than men generally. But we're not including men's externalising disorders, men's anger-related disorders, so these intermittent explosive disorders, oppositional defiance disorders. In the US, these are all recognised as mental health problems that can be treated. But they're men's mental health problems. They're more found in men than women. In our society, we don't give any recognition to that. But those disorders are actually damaging to us as a society and damaging between the genders as well. So there's a lot of stuff needs to be sorted out in relation to women and men's mental health there.
I kind of agree too that any actions that, like for example, a woman's promiscuity is automatically synonymous with she's not right in the head or she's deviated from the morals, therefore she's not right. For example, I was watching the Amanda Knox documentary recently, and I found that they exploited the whole misogyny, whereas in first and foremost, she was in Italy. Now it's almost like the source of in Europe, European Catholicism. So she was in a patriarchal society still, where women who probably, for Amanda Knox, who was more kind of sexually adventurous, I kind of feel that was one of the reasons why she was so under the microscope. And therefore, because she was that way inclined, they automatically made her demonic. She was a witch, she was possessed, she was sex obsessed, and then that became synonymous then with not right in the head, madness, and it was all then related to mental illness, all because of the society that this incident happened. Now, I don't know if she's guilty or not, but that's irrespective of the verdict. It was the fact that she was an American, a liberated young woman coming into a society where, you know, it's still very much strict morals and Catholicism. Now, I am Catholic, but I know there is a kind of pressure to be the good Catholic girl, and I feel that they were quick to use mental health and mental health instability as a reason for the way she was, and even having that, using a label like mental health wrongly and putting it on someone is then going to cause mental health distress in itself. So it's kind of like a vicious circle then that creates, and they wanted her, they actually said to her, because you were so sexually adventurous in your life and your experiences, they tried to pressure her to confess by falsely telling her that she had HIV, and they thought by telling her that she was going to break and confess, but she didn't at all. And so I think that has a lot to do with it, that men, still, not all men, but still in some cultures exploit the fact that they are more dominant than the male. And the detective who was on the case was being interviewed in a church, so I think that speaks volumes too of the context in which that case was. So I think it's a matter of a young liberated girl having done things in a society where it's wrong.